Chris will be on the call with Marv Albert. Pacers Bucks tonight at 8 Eastern on TNT. All right, LeBron's now fourth on the all-time scoring list. Does that change anything for you, Chris?
No. I mean, I knew he was a great player. It doesn't. It doesn't change anything. He's a great player. Again, I think no athlete has had the pressure before entering any league. No athlete has had social media and that pressure. No athlete was paid $100 million from Nike before they came into play besides LeBron. So for him to pass every expectation, to me, that's the greatest accomplishment. But, you can look at a lot of things, you could come. I just think there needs to be a line in the sand and no more comparisons because it just can't be. Jordan didn't come straight out of high school. What if Jordan would have played 2 more years? Jordan played in a different era, So I'm kind of worn out of the comparisons because I think you still have to talk about him being better than Kobe. You can't just jump up to Jordan. I don't think numbers just mean it, and I think maybe he is the greatest teammate of all time instead of individual players. So when you get into the weeds of it, I've heard some really good arguments, and I can agree with those. But the overall arguments, I'm not sure. Because one day Durant's going to break all of those, and I think Durant will actually break Kareem's record. So it means a lot that he did that, and I'm congratulations, very happy for him. But it doesn't do anything in the argument of who's better to me.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because you played against these guys. So you're sort of that bridge guy that you know what Mike was like and obviously what LeBron is like. But I mean, you're right about Kobe. He sort of gets lost in this. I'm not sure why, but he's in between the two. But he's not given enough credit, I think, for what he did, how he did it, because he said, I'm going to be as good as I'm going to go right at Mike. I'm going to have my number 24, not 23. Like, I'm going right at you. I want to be better than you. I'm going to play just like you did and have your same style. So if you're going to compare, the comparison is really Kobe to Mike, not LeBron to Mike.
Yeah, and the vulnerability. That's something we really never. I don't want to start nothing this morning. But when you really think about, Kobe's style and Michael Jordan's style, they were going to will their teams to win. And if you couldn't shoot a shot in the corner, then I'm not passing it to you. I'm going to score the ball because we need to win tonight.
Yeah.
And so, me as a player that have gone I'm sure 3 for 20 in the game, and it hurts your feelings, and you got to come back to the next game. It's a little bit of an honor in that if you're not just taking bad shots every night, because it's messed up as a player when you shoot 3 for 17, 4 for 15, and if you wanted to, many times as a great player, you can keep it around 50% if you don't take any risk. And the thing with Jordan and Kobe, what was so amazing with them is it took so much risk, the difficulties on their shots, the fact that when other guys weren't knocking them down, they would just will themselves. And I'm always, I always reminded that picture of Jordan. I think he's checking Magic when he has the tights up under his shorts. He pulls his shorts up. He's at half court looking Magic in his eyes and checking them, And so I just remember those guys saying, no, forget that. I'll check him. Now, I've never, this many years into your career, 16 years, I don't know if anyone has played the way that LeBron's played. But I still think, it's a table, and he, Jordan, Kobe, all of them are at the table. I don't know if anyone necessarily is just at the head of the table because they're doing it today. That's all.
Okay, but kids growing up now, are players trying? Will they try to emulate LeBron the way the players of a different era, like you guys, were trying to emulate Michael? Or are they going to emulate James Harden or Steph Curry? Are they going to skip by LeBron? Because how can you try to emulate what LeBron does?
Well, hopefully you emulate what LeBron does because he's a great teammate. And what I mean by that is he makes the correct basketball play. And so a lot of people, no matter how good you are, if you don't have that IQ, it shows and it's embarrassing. So LeBron's IQ is just off the charts. And so you can be that player now that knows every play on the other team, that knows when you get a pick, that knows your strength so that when you draw a double team, you know who to get to. But, yeah, I think, the game is Curry's right now. I mean, Curry is in a great way. And I tease him like you messed up the game because I walk into a gym and kids are shooting threes. But that's what Dominique and Jordan did. They messed up the game because we used to walk in and dunk before we would even stretch. So, I mean, that's just the way that it's going to be. But I think Curry, just his size, he shows that the game, as long as you have skill, it doesn't matter how tall you are. He's one of the best ball handlers that we've had. And what he's doing, I love because growing up an Isaiah Thomas fan, growing up a fan of all the guards, he's just taking their game to another level because he has freedom. He has skill set that maybe they didn't have and the freedom that they didn't have. And so I think you're going to see a lot more people emulating Curry with trying to turn around while the ball's in the air after shooting the 45 feet and seeing if it goes in.
Also looking at the Greek Freak and Ben Simmons, the fact that they're this good, they've gotten this far, and they can't shoot. How does that happen, Chris?
It happens because they're very good, and it happens because there's no more shot blockers in the NBA. So they're very good, and now you don't have, let's say, not that you should, but you don't have a Rick Smits and a Dale Davis. So where if one is being pulled out, you still have another shot blocker inside. In the old traditional game, it was a 4 and 5. The 5 was big. He could block shots, and the 4 could even come in and help. Now that 5 could be a 4-man. Durant could be playing the 5. And so, therefore, if you're Ben Simmons and you're on and you got Curry checking you, nobody's coming to block the shot. Matter of fact, go right in and take it. So I think there are less shot blockers. There's no Mutombo, even though I love Rudy Gobert's game. No Mourning, no Bradley, those type of guys. So I think it's a little bit easier, but I think those guys have a much better skill set or more freedom than guys that were my height had back then to, be able to take 30 dribbles, wait, double team comes, wait till double team leaves, and still be able to attack inside. But it's fun to watch those big guys do what they do with the ball, man.
I was wondering about the Mount Rushmore of impactful players. Like they left their mark. I look at Steph Curry. I look at Dirk Nowitzki. I look at Michael Jordan. And I'm talking about modern basketball. And I would probably put Magic in there as well because he said to you probably wanted to play point guard. At some point in your life, what Steph has done to the 3-point shot, what Mike did to the game, dunking, flying, and Dirk, what he did to big men that you can shoot outside and shoot 3-pointers there. Can you think of anybody else?
I would put Bird at the table before Dirk because Magic is the one that made us want to play point guard. We had to watch it, and Bird is the first big man we saw shoot threes.
Okay.
There'd be no Dirk if it weren't for Bird. So Dirk definitely took it to the next level. Not talking about Dirk in any way bad at all, but Dirk is not Bird. And if Bird could have shot 8 threes a game, we looked at his Bird shot like a 3.5 a game. And so, and if Bird came down on the break, even though he wasn't the most athletic, he had to fill the wings and lay it up because they didn't want him going to the corner because spacing wasn't like that. So he didn't have those opportunities. But we saw him shoot threes. We saw him win a 3-point contest with his shooting shirt on and hold the finger up. So Bird is the one that started that. No, I totally agree with you as far as those guys being kind of pillars of the game. I'd say Gary Payton on defense, believe it or not, because I saw a lot of guards want to throw lobs or want to play defense like Gary Payton. He made it sexy to play defense, to talk junk, and to kind of bring that out. So, no, I totally agree when you talk about those pillars of the game.
But you missed Bird by a couple of years, I think, didn't you? 2 years?
I missed him by 1 year. The year that I came in, he had just retired, I think, a year and a half. But I got to play against him in the Dream Team that last year of his healthy basketball. And I'm telling you, like, we wanted to – going into there, I wanted to see Barkley. He was my favorite player. Jordan and Bird. It was those three by far, heads and shoulders above the rest. Magic as well. But we wanted to see Bird and to be able to practice with him, see how he worked out, see how he shot, see the junk that he talked constantly. I mean, it was one of the best moments in your life because you are with guys and pillars of the game that changed it like that.
Yeah, but you got Jordan who talks. You got Barkley who talks, and then you got Bird who talks. Who talked the most when you played against the Dream Team?
Why do you think my generation grew up talking so much? They taught us how to do it. We used to watch all those blooper tapes and everything else. And I don't know who talked the most. The best was my man Rodney Rogers, strong, fast, quick, athletic, and Bird just set him up in a corner. Someone drives to the corner, Stockton passed out to Bird, and here you see Rodney Rogers take a full sprint. And I'm talking about, you know how Zion blocked that shot a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's where where Rodney Rogers came from. Except, unlike the young kid that shot the shot, in the middle of him being in the midair, Bird says, "Welcome to the parachute club, rookie," and watches him go by him, shoots the ball, and like Curry does what Bird did because he shot it and just kept walking down, like shaking his head like these dumb youngsters. They'll never get it. So,
do you see any comparisons? You brought up Rodney Rogers, and when I was asked about Zion, I said, for some reason, and maybe because they're left-handed, but they were big, athletic guys who were mobile. And I see a little bit of Rodney Rogers in Zion Williamson. Everybody wants to say Charles Barkley. Do you see Rodney Rogers in Zion?
Yeah, I don't see much Charles Barkley in Zion. I do see Rodney Rogers. It makes so much sense now that you said it like that. Rodney Rogers could shoot better, but wasn't as athletic. But, yeah, I think Rodney Rogers, and this is another guy, and again, he is better than these guys. But James Forrest of Georgia Tech, I know for myself, I never seen a guy like that strong. I mean, I knew what Country Strong was after I played against him and Corliss Williamson, those guys like that, I mean, maybe never lifted a weight but could push a car out the way if they needed to. And so with him, I definitely think Rodney Rogers would be a great comparison for that.
Tell Marv we said hello. Have fun tonight, Pacers and the Bucks. And by the way, you still broke Tom Izzo's heart. I had him on yesterday, and he was he said you made him cry that you didn't go to Michigan State. He still loves you, but you made him cry. He can't get over you.
Man,
he can't.
I love Tom. And just think about this. Tom's a great guy, but just think about this. I'm number one recruit in the country, all this stuff, and Tom was taking over. Coach Judd Heathcote was leaving. And, you're usually cooler with the assistant coach. So Izzo recruited me, and he became a friend. Even when I was in high school, he became that to me. And I didn't go there. I was upset. He was the first person that I called, even before I called Michigan, to tell him that I was going there. So he actually knew before anyone. And this is what's really crazy. 4 years later, you know who plays on the Michigan State team? My brother, Jason, played there for 3 years. And because Tom recruited him, that's just who Tom is. He knew our family. He knew my brothers and sisters since he was coming into the house, and they were little crawling all over him. And so I can't say enough about the man Tom is, the fire he has inside. And even when basketball is not going on, he's a heck of a lot of fun to be around him and his family. So, that's my man.
Thank you, Chris. Have fun tonight. We always appreciate your time.
Thank you guys for having me.
That's C-Webb, Turner Sports NBA analyst. He's one of my favorites. But he's one of my favorites because he sort of stumbles along a story that you can bring up a topic, and then he just has a story or two. And that's what's fun. Because, they can give you answers, but when they tell you stories, that's when it's fun.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.